All right, guys. So, roughly a year ago, I had this big plan to engage in survival training, and I purchased certain gear for it. And I wanted the bare minimum. In fact, I didn't even want any sort of fire starter. I wanted to be able to do it myself and all that. And so, shit came up, and it became I couldn't defend doing it given the circumstances. I explained all of that like a year ago, but anyhow, so I had to postpone it. I've thought about it since then, and I believe a lot of what I was going for, or what I was seeking to prove, I guess, was to myself, and this is just ego. Don't get me wrong, because just putting yourself in tough situations and seeing how you can perform is valuable. But I think I went too far, and like, at least in my initial plans, and sort of wanted to prove something by going too far. So, in a way, it became sort of unrealistic because we have ways to ease these problems that you might find in like a wilderness survival sort of situation. So, I've sort of shifted my view about it, and it's not all about like I didn't directly say this, but like it's kind of dipping into territory of the people that are like, you have a tent, pussy? Like shit like that. Like, it's just, in my opinion, it was sort of ego based and not very smart, really. So, yeah. I've got more equipment since then, and I keep ending up spending more and more money, which I think now I should be good. And I keep saying this. Um, this is kind of like my thing right now. I wouldn't call it an obsession, but it's currently like my hobby to be prepared. And I think it's more pertinent now. Well, actually, I'm a little bit less concerned with recent events because it seems like the Supreme Court has been pushing back on Trump and his illegal actions and his power grabs. Also, even Republicans have quit to make sure that he doesn't have this sort of unchecked power, at least to the extent that he did. Those are good signs. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with being proactive, being prepared. So I kind of want to go over a little bit of what I've done, and this is particular to me. And feel free to chime in, like, you didn't think about this. This is very important. You need to cover this base or whatever. Feel free to do that. I'm no expert on survival shit by any stretch of the imagination. But anyhow, so my plate carrier, my body armor, has some of the things that I will be taking along. So, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. That's a tendency of mine. I plan on doing this in stages. So, I'm going to start by doing a very simple, like 1 day um, test in the wilderness, not too far in. And because it's not necessary to put myself in that amount of danger in order to prove readiness, I guess. All I have to do is limit myself in what I use in order to make that point, right? Like, you could technically go like into the woods right off of a main like city area, as long as the woods are like, sufficiently deep and it's legal and all of that. Like, you don't have to be out in the middle of nowhere. All you have to do is simulate that. And again, you can do that by not going out and using your cell phone and etc. And it's just kind of ego to do otherwise, in my opinion, just to prove a point to yourself or others. But anyhow, So on the first phase, it should be very easy. And all it really does is gives me like a taste of what to expect. And it's not going to give me all the information I need. But I think it's far more intelligent to kind of break it down into small steps, because I have no experience with this sort of shit. And I think it would be really dumb to go with my initial plan of just fucking balls deep, just going out into the fucking wilderness for like a week with like no real camping, hiking experience, etc. It's just not smart. Anyhow, so as I was saying, my body armor has a first aid kit, personal. I have an extra tourniquet just in case. I have an emergency kit also that has like an emergency reflective blanket. There's all sorts of things in that. There's even like fishing line and that good stuff. I have a canteen. I'm about to show you my water filtration system. And what I plan in this instance is I'm going to take off the mags, the mag pouches anyhow, and the magazines themselves from the vest. I'm going to take the steel plates out because that's not necessary for what I'll be doing, and it'll actually make things far more difficult than it needs to be. But yeah, so here I'll show you what I'm working with. Try not to mess up my system too much. This is like a little how the hell do you describe it? It's like a hand button mechanism to turn on the laser for my PA-15 rifle. I have it in there because I need it soon, and I want to have it easily accessible. Extra batteries for it. A solar-powered battery bank, I guess you call it. It also has a compass on the back, and it has a USB port, so like in case of emergency, I can charge my phone is mainly what it's for. It also has a flashlight in the top just in case, and a sort of strobe function in case I need to like have an SOS signal. Reflex sight instruction manual, and that's only in there because I'm going to need it soon to sight in my reflex sight. Extra battery for the reflex sight. Small flashlight. And I have a USB cord for the power bank here. Next, I have X-Tac 5.56 M855 ammunition. These are green tip. They're not technically armor piercing, but they work better than typical full metal jacket because it has a steel. I don't know how to describe it, and I'm not extremely well versed in it. It has like a steel tip that they're technically designed for like light cover, like concrete barricades or like enemies that are behind cover, but they have far greater penetration than other types of ammunition. two 50-round boxes of 5.56 ammunition. It's Magtech, which is very affordable, and according to reviews that I've read, it's extremely clean ammunition, which is important. I've got a little bit of 9mm. So most of my ammunition is on my plate carrier, and is like I have 5 mags. I have them set to like 27 out of 30. Because they're brand new mags, and the retention on the spring is so tight because they're not worn in. I can't even, like, it would take a lot for me to press them down further. Plus, a lot of people recommend that you don't keep mags at exactly 30 if it's a 30-round clip, because oftentimes there'll be like fit issues whenever you place it in the gun. What else we got here? This is awesome. It's the Sawyer Squeeze water filtration system. This is the most important component, and it's the filter itself, and it screws on. So there's these bags, and that's what I went with. They have better options too, and these bags have shown that sometimes that they will become damaged. Eventually I need to replace them and get like a premium bag. That way it can be more durable. But this thing is awesome. This, and can't remember the name of the other one, are the two most popular options for water filtration. And from the research I've done, this is the best. It also has a what's it called? A cleansing plunger, which is not typical of like being in the field, like being able to cleanse it. So it's nice to be able to do that, in my opinion. So this won't be, I doubt I'll be bringing this with me, although it's light and doesn't take up a whole lot of space. This is more for like I don't know, a urban environment, and not for survival exactly, but it's a gas mask, and this is the filter. The primary use for this is, well, you could also use it for many things just around the house, like painting and dealing with any sort of harmful chemicals, substances, like fine particles in the air due to like all sorts of things. But it's primarily the reason why I mainly have it is for crowd control. If I'm not really the protest type, but if I ever decide that it's warranted and it's time for me to join in, it's nice to have the ability to handle crowd control shit, like gas pellets. Well, it's technically not gas, but chemical, but you get what I'm talking about. Or the canisters. It's nice to have the option to be able to deal with that. Plus, you never know, it could have a lot of possible applications, and it's a very cheap piece of equipment. Doesn't hurt to have. I've shown this before. This is my Overwatch by Mossy Oak survival knife. It's a little large, and some would say impractical, but I also have a smaller blade for anything that I might need that requires a more precise touch. Ear protection. It's currently like in its compact form, but it kind of pulls out and retracts or contracts maybe. It has like a built-in ability to hear. It'll filter out just like gunshots. I don't know how it does it, but you can, if you turn it on and it uses battery power, you can just filter out gunshots and hear like people talking, for example, which is really cool. That also won't be in the survival deal. That's just in here now because I use this as both. Geez, getting this shit back in here is a pain. You gotta like situate it exactly right or it won't fit. Also have to be careful not to put anything really heavy in the outer pockets or it will crush the more fragile things like my gas mask or the water filtration system here. All right. Don't be a pain in the ass now. Jeez. Straps get in the way. By the way, I don't understand what these are for. These buckles on the side. Like, what the fuck is that for? They're on both sides. This one as well. And I understand what this large one is for. That's to go around your waist. But I don't understand what these on the sides are for. Anyhow, getting distracted here. This is a 7-day emergency food ration, strawberry flavored. That's just my personal preference. From the reviews I've read, these are great tasting in comparison to other survival rations. Now, that doesn't say a whole lot because it's not designed to taste good. It's designed to fucking save your life in an emergency. So they have there's 7 of them in here, and one bag is 1 day. And that's 1,125 calories. It's got 34 grams of protein, which is pretty nice. Vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium, vitamin A, thiamine, riboflavin, I don't know how to pronounce that, niacin, vitamin B6, zinc, and selenium. Now, just to be clear, this is not designed as like everything that the human body needs in terms of nutrients. It's designed for the significant, important functions to keep going in a survival situation. And what I particularly like about this and why I didn't go with like the MRE option is because a case of MREs, military standard MREs, For one, they're a little bit, in my opinion, extravagant for what it's for. Don't get me wrong, because military is a whole different thing. So, but for my purpose, it's only a last resort emergency. MREs are a little extra, in my opinion. They even like have like Tabasco packets and like heating and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but they're far more than I actually need for the purposes that I want them for. So they also size and the weight and size are very important considerations. So a case is typically 12 MREs, and that's like you'd usually need 2 to 3 per day. So even if you're rationing, it's like 2, and that's 6 days. And the case is extremely heavy and takes up quite a bit of space. If I remember correctly, it's like 40 pounds or some shit. Typically, for most of these MRE cases, that's just not realistic. Yeah. So what I like about this is 7 days, and the real beauty here, this is best before 10/01 2044. They have 20-year shelf lives. So these are a little bit hard. They're like little, they're, how do I describe it? They're biscuits. Yeah. Get that out of the way for now. Got my gloves in here and a beanie that's, of course, blaze orange because I plan on using it for hunting at some point. So it's like a twofer. It has more than one purpose or use. And I believe that's it for now. So what I've got coming, which hopefully I'm done or at least close to done. Let me put this back. So quickly, today I have a backpacking tent. It's one person and it's pretty well made material, although it's compact. And again, it's for emergency situations and it's not for freaking glamping. You're not looking to like fucking be perfect. I don't want to spend a whole shit ton of money on fucking luxury. Just necessity. It's waterproof. And what I especially like about it is it don't weigh a whole lot and it can be compact. It rolls into a bundle and you could easily transport it. I have a 3000 mAh rechargeable camping lantern that's solar powered, hand crank, and USB-C charging. So it's like a tent light and an LED flashlight, and it also has a power bank function as well. I think it's really useful for survival situations, and I particularly like the hand crank feature. Of course, you're using energy to do so, but this is me personally, but I don't trust solar power much because it takes a fucking long time to get a full charge with any solar powered item that I've seen so far, personally. Also, it's not reliable. It requires that the sun be out at least for maximum charge. And then I have a basic 550 Type 3 paracord, 7-strand core, utility rope. That can be used for a ton of things, and I am not really versed in all of the things you can do with it, admittedly, but it's nice to have in case of emergency, and I'm sure that I can figure some shit out if absolutely need be. Tomorrow I have a Bayite 4-inch survival ferrocerium drilled flint fire starter, ferro rod kit with paracord, lanyard, handle, and striker. It's a very cheap item, and from the reviews, it seems to be very durable and long lasting. And I think that that will be absolutely indispensable, especially in a survival situation. And then last but not least, I've got a sleeping bag, which is rated to handle like down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Not absolutely perfect, but I also wanted a little versatility because in case of emergency, I'm not only going to be using it for like absolute cold weather. So, but it does cover that base to a large extent. Anyhow, that's it for now. So again, I plan on just like a 1 day type deal. I might actually even go less than that and like spend like half a day just to get a feel for what I like, things that I haven't thought of and all that good stuff. But eventually I'll be taking a vacation from work and going on a 1 week retreat into the wilderness to just to kind of for the most important thing is preparation. Like being confident that I'm going to be okay in some sort of situation to where I need to be off grid, or an emergency happens, like a freaking hurricane, like what happened last year. Could have been a lot worse. Some sort of civil war scenario. Of course, that's unlikely, but still, there's nothing wrong with being prepared. There's all sorts of situations that could happen to where I would need this sort of self-sufficiency and equipment. Anyhow, that's it for now. Don't want this to be an extremely long video. Thank you for your time.